You must understand that the human race stands at a critical turning point in terms of biowarfare technology. We are at risk now as I speak.
It was the 21st century's first act of biological terrorism. And that set investigative journalist Bob Cohen on his journey to penetrate the darkest secrets of many countries, allies and enemies alike, and all linked by their common pursuit of the ultimate bioweapon. If his travels are teaching him anything, it's this. When it comes to bioterrorism, the terrorists are not who you might expect. It came through the mail, just weeks after 9/11. New terror attacks, first in Florida, then New York and Washington. Anthrax. It spread fear and panic through the nation.
2 media offices and a Microsoft office received letters containing anthrax. 1 man is dead, 2 people are being treated for the infection.
Someone had mailed letters laced with the deadly powder to the media and to U.S. senators.
President Bush said he could not rule out that Osama bin Laden is behind the scare.
And for the first time in modern history, the United States Congress was shut down. 5 people were killed, 22 infected, and the whole country filled with foreboding.
If you take September 11th and the anthrax attacks on Congress, it was a 1-2 punch on our republic.
And you have to remember the country was pretty jittery at the time because it was right after 9/11. People just thought we were just under siege. And so, you know, it was a perfect sort of storm. Everyone was convinced that the world was out to get us, and then suddenly now we have anthrax. So it was a pretty good attack.
If you think about it, the attack was against all of us. That it went into the mail system, so that means it had the potential for spores to be delivered into anybody's home.
Fear of anthrax infected the American psyche and was crucial in justifying the war against Iraq.
Less than a teaspoonful of dry anthrax in an envelope shut down the United States Senate. Iraq declared 8,500 liters of anthrax, and Saddam Hussein has not verifiably accounted for even 1 teaspoonful of this deadly material.
We all remember the horror of the Twin Towers. But the anthrax attacks all but disappeared from public consciousness. But not from Cohen's mind. He was raised in Africa, where anthrax had been used against the black majority during Zimbabwe's War of Liberation. It had caused the largest anthrax epidemic in modern times. As the 5 victims of the U.S. anthrax attacks were being buried, it was certain this crime could never be understood without also understanding the larger story of bioweapons research. The FBI's investigation, one of the largest in its history and codenamed Amerithrax, stretched out across 6 continents. It appeared the FBI was looking for a lone killer, and they soon zeroed in on a person of interest, an Army biodefense scientist named Stephen Hatfield.
I am not the anthrax killer.
Charges were never laid. Yet Hatfield continued to be harassed by the FBI and hounded by the media.
I object to an investigation characterized, as this one has been, by outrageous official statements, calculated leaks to the media, and causing a feeding frenzy operating to my great prejudice.
Stephen Hatfield sued, and in June 2008, the U.S. Justice Department settled out of court, paying Hatfield $5.8 million. The FBI's anthrax investigation appeared to be a cold case. And then, on August 1st, 2008, the FBI announced they had their man, another military scientist.
There is finally a suspect in the anthrax attacks. He worked for the government's anthrax lab, and unfortunately, he's dead.
Because we believed that based on the evidence we had collected, we could prove his guilt to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt.
His name was Dr. Bruce E. Ivins. Dr. Ivins dying Tuesday at Frederick Memorial Hospital in Maryland, reportedly after taking a massive dose of prescription Tylenol with codeine. His lawyer today asserting his client's innocent.
With the only suspect now dead, the FBI's case would never have to be proven in court. As Bruce Ivins was being remembered, the FBI said it was closing the case. But some Army specialists, like biowarfare expert Richard Spurzel, were skeptical.
He's dead, and they can close the case, and he can't defend himself. Nice and convenient, isn't it?
If we read Sherlock Holmes or we read detective stories, you always say, who benefits, who had a motive? The lone gunman theory fits the needs of the FBI. Some madmen had basically stolen a small quantity of this or mixed it in his own house or whatever. He sent out a few letters and he is dead, so we don't need a motive.
From day one, journalist Edward J. Epstein had challenged the FBI's single culprit theory, and now so did a target of the anthrax letters, Senator Patrick Leahy.
I do not believe in any way, shape, or manner that he is the only person involved in this attack on Congress and the American people. I do not believe that at all. I believe there are others involved, either as accessories before or accessories after the fact. I believe there are others who can be charged with murder.
The key to this case was the murder weapon, inhalation anthrax. Anthrax is a naturally occurring bacteria that causes an acute pneumonia-like disease. Bruce Ivins worked with anthrax in one of the world's most secret military labs, the U.S. Army Medical Research Institute for Infectious Diseases at Fort Detrick in Maryland.
Big factory, germ factory.
The U.S. biowarfare program was born here during World War II in response to fears about enemy germ weapon programs. It turned out that the Japanese actually deployed these weapons against the Chinese in Manchuria. After the war, Fort Detrick was ramped up as Army scientists weaponized anthrax and other deadly organisms. The spores of weaponized anthrax are processed into a fine aerosolized powder, easily inhaled into the lungs, causing death in as little as 3 days. At the height of the Cold War, the U.S. and other major powers possessed enough biological weapons to wipe out the human race. Then, the U.S. moved to stop the madness.
The United States of America will renounce the use of any form of deadly biological weapons that either kill or incapacitate.
President Nixon's decision paved the way for the destruction of the world's stockpiles of biological weapons. The 1972 Biological and Toxin Weapons Convention outlawed bioweapons.